Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and we have our Week 15 review here. We only had 3 games this weekend, and definitely had, I would say, a surprise in every game this week.
I want to say it was upset week.
This really was upset week. Let's get right into it. The Toronto Argonauts defeat the BC Lions by a score of 33-17, and Nathan Rourke's momentum
got exposed.
Has come crashing down. As I don't know where that was this game. Seriously, if we're looking at Rourke's stats here, 6 for 12, only 50%, 110 yards, 9.2 yards on average, no touchdowns, no picks. Vernon Adams Jr. would go in. He would go 4 for 7, so a little bit over 50%. He would go 75 yards, 10.7 yards on average. However, he throws the one interception here for the Lions. And Bryce would go about 50%. However, he's got the touchdown pass, so it is kind of funny seeing Bryce go in and be able to do that. Chase Bryce going in and grabbing himself a touchdown pass for the Lions. William Stanback denied at only 21 yards rushing. That is it. That is your leading rusher here for the BC Lions. If we're looking at the receiving core, Justin McInnes, 4 receptions, 95 yards, leading the pack there with Hatcher, Terrell, Katoy behind him. But overall, really nothing that crazy coming out here for the Lions. Sean White with 1 field goal on 2 field goal attempts. Do you know how far the one he missed was, Rick?
Give me 1 second. And Terrell was the one that was leading BC with rushing by 3 extra yards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so the one that he missed was a 46.
He missed with 46. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world to miss. I'm not gonna lie, you probably want to hit that, but overall, I've seen much worse in terms of misses. Chad Kelly here, 18 for 28, so decent. He would then go 268 yards, 9.6 yards on average, 1 touchdown, no picks for him. So decent game for Chad Kelly. However, he's also leading the team in the rushing department, 56 yards rushing.
What I was going to say is there's a new Chad Kelly favorite receiver in town.
Is his name Polk?
His name is Polk. This game and the last game, he's had over 100 yards receiving.
Makai Polk, able to go in and push that ball down the field. Polk with 6 receptions, 116 yards, 1 touchdown for him. So, new favorite receiver in town for the Argonauts, which is pretty good, I got to say. As at the end of the day, you want to be able to have those options and keep that ball going around. Don't want to be too predictable, as you can then fall into some issues in that regard. As long as the guys you're going to are reliable. And so, a good game for him. Haralahu, 6 for 6. A lot of this just really looks like Toronto being able to consistently just push that ball at least into field goal range, and Haralahu being able to go in and hit it. Whether it's the first quarter, he hits a 51, 43, and a 14-yard field goals, 3 of them respectively. Then second quarter, 31 yards for him. Third quarter, 27-yarder. Fourth quarter, 46-yarder. And then Haggerty would also pick up a single on a 46-yard punt in the fourth quarter. So Toronto being able to not necessarily play this touchdown dominant game, but being able to just push the ball enough to get into that field goal range and allow your kicker to just slowly but surely tick that scoreboard up. And at the end of the day, it's going to add up, and BC struggled to manage with that. Anything you got on the game, Rick?
I mean, if you look at the numbers, and I'm not down talking Toronto in any way, but Chad Kelly has to start throwing more touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what it is? It's not even just that. That is definitely an aspect of it. But also 18 for 28 is like, it's okay, but it's like, that's 64%. That's not like, because that golden mark you want to get is that 70%, or if you can get above that. But so 64 is okay, But um,
No, but what I'm
like,
saying is, if you want, like, obviously, I'm not saying that Toronto can't win the Grey Cup this year, but what I'm trying to say is, if you want to go far in the playoffs, you can't just rely on your kicker to kick 6 field goals.
yeah. Although, yeah, I do think the credit where credit is due, being able to get into field goal range. But that is true. It is. I'm not gonna say
Mind,
it's
I will.
impossible. I'm not gonna say it's impossible because if it's a defensive oriented game, it is possible. But that only works if the defense is playing the way it needs to. And so, kind of putting all that, having to rely on the defense to be able to carry it to allow a kicking game to occur. That's a lot of faith to put in the defense. Not that the defense can't do it, but it's just you're kind of it's then bringing more into the fold rather than really leading the charge with those offensive drives. And with the Argos, the problem that I'm kind of seeing here is that there will be teams that will be able to shut down this passing game. So then the question is, for generating offense, how good is that running game? Chad Kelly, 10 rushes, 56 yards for him. However, Kadeem Carey, 42 yards, only 3.8 yards on average. Kadeem Carey has really got to get going. And this is a guy who's a capable running back. There's no question. But I think if you're the Toronto Argonauts, you want to get more out of Kadeem Carey and get that ball moving on the ground, especially when late game. And it's just a safer option. Altogether, because I mean, a safer option is important. I mean, if we look at the Toronto Argonauts last year, they relied so much on that throwing game, which was really, really good until it stopped working. And by stop working, I mean in the playoffs last year, as Chad Kelly threw 6 picks, someone like that. He threw so many.
I think it
picks
was like 4 or 5, something
it was
like
like
that.
4 or 5 picks. It was ridiculous. It was too many. It was too many. That's how many it was, and it cost them. It really did. And so being able to have a reliable ground game and being able to run that ball, I think is a great way to cut down on the opportunity for those errors to commence. And just a safer
But also,
offense.
so I was just combining the two games because Toronto won game one 35-27.
Mm-hmm.
They won game two 33-17. This goes to show that BC's offensive line is one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They do not, the BC does not scream scary. In 2 games, Toronto's defense has had 2 interceptions. They've had 13 sacks.
Yeah, no, that's not good. And it's not like you don't have some capable guys on this BC Lions offensive line. Broxton's been able to do quite well. Michael Couture has been able to do well at center. But as we've discussed before, especially with Coach Phil when we did our midseason report of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the offensive line is only as good as its weakest link. We'd also talked about this, I believe, with Shane from 13th Man Sports. Is that correct? About
Yes.
how important it is to have the offensive line working as a unit. As you can have 4 of the best offensive linemen in the world, but if your 5th one is dog shit, then it's really going to hurt you. And I'm not singling out any particular player here, but it's that the point is that this offensive line needs to work in tandem. They need to really, really get in the zone. They need to be working together to keep their quarterback safe. And it's one of those things where the BC Lions offensive line has been very, very, very inconsistent as of recent. And that is, in turn, kind of caused parts of this team to be inconsistent, which allows a clear favorite like the BC Lions to fall to the Toronto Argonauts by a score of 33-17. Shall I get on to the next one?
Oh, we shall get on to the next one.
Which is going to be the first of the Saturday games, where the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeat the Ottawa Redblacks by a score of 37-21. Rick, go nuts.
Carter, I don't think you saw this game, did you?
I did not.
So, because I was working this day, I watched it on tape delay, and oh my god. So, first play of the game, guess what happens on the first freaking play of the game?
What happens in the first frickin' play of the game?
There's a friggin' fumble on
Yeah.
the first play of the game. However,
I think I saw
Ticats
this.
recover.
Yep.
Then we start our drive. Then second play of the game, Darius Pickett leaves the game injured.
Yeah.
And he's seen on crutches, so that's not a good sign.
Definitely not.
So our first drive, we ended up getting a 47-yard field goal by Legio.
Yep, and that would be his longest field goal of the night.
Then on Ottawa's first drive, we get a turnover.
Yep.
Then on their second drive, they get a field goal to tie the game, so it's 3-3.
Yeah.
Then Bo Levi Mitchell gets down to probably the 35. Greg Bell fumbles the ball. I'm like, oh, God, here we go again. We can't even get close.
Yeah.
But then there's some Woods tree trimming coming down, as Lawrence Woods returns an 83-yard punt return for a touchdown, which he hasn't done one since 2022.
Yep.
Mark Leggio would then kick it off. They would punt. And then that would be it for quarter number 1.
Yeah.
Then quarter number 2. Of course, it wouldn't be a Ticat game without Bo Levi Mitchell throwing an interception. Then we stop.
That would be his only interception of the night.
That is his only interception of the night.
Yep.
Then we stop Justin Crum on 3rd and 1 on the Ottawa 39-yard line.
Yep.
Mark Leggio would then kick a 19-yard field goal. Lewis Ward would then bounce back and kick a 30-yard field goal.
Yep, and that would be his longest of the night.
Then Mark Leggio misses a 47-yarder.
Yep.
Gets the single. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Ottawa punts. Then Bo Levi Mitchell throws his first touchdown of the night to Stephen Dunbar Jr., who seems to go for 8 for 8 on the night.
Yeah, with 151 yards receiving, 1 touchdown for him. Very good night for Stephen Dunbar.
So it was 21-6 at half. I'm thinking, okay, where's this team coming from? Then they, what is it? Drew Brown gets sacked in the first possession or rounds of possessions in the third.
Yep.
The interesting thing is, it hasn't come up yet, but Mark Leggio kicks a 36-yard field goal, or misses it though, so that's his second miss. Another single.
That's one that you want. That's one that you want to hit, though. I'm not gonna lie. Anything in the 30s, you don't want to be missing that.
Then Drew Brown threw one of few interceptions. This one was to Jonathan Moxley.
This would be Drew Brown's only interception of the night, but there still would be more interceptions to come, just not from Drew Brown.
Bo Levi Mitchell would throw a touchdown, a 20-yard touchdown to Andre Milinovic-Litre.
Yep.
For a 20-yarder. Then this is where the fun comes in. At the 10-second mark, they pull Drew Brown and bring in Jeremiah Mazzoli.
Yep.
Then the fourth quarter just goes to shits.
Yep.
They start the beginning within 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. They get a touchdown. I'm like, oh, God, here we go again.
Yeah, and that touchdown was a 13-yard touchdown pass for Miller from Jeremiah Mazzoli.
Yes. So then we punt it. They come back, score another touchdown, a 10-yarder to Rhymes. They get a 2-point convert.
Yeah, and Dominic Rhymes would leave the Red Blacks here with 10 receptions, 129 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown pass.
I'm like, don't tell me that They're making a comeback now. Here comes the interesting play. I don't know if you've seen the highlights for this. You know how Litre goes in for the Litre? I call it the Litre special, where he goes in for the 1 yard and goes for a short yardage.
Yep.
This play, he decides instead of going for the short yardage, he's going to run back a few yards, throw it over the pile to an offensive lineman.
I think I see this, yeah.
But the offensive lineman draws a pass interference penalty and gets the first down.
Which is crazy. Getting pass interference against an offensive lineman is just hilarious to me.
So that's already 10 yards. The follling play,
I'm just letting you know, this is like the O-lineman's dream, by the way. Like, hearing like Milanovic come in and be like, yeah, you're getting the ball, dude. Like,
and then the following play, Ottawa gets a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
So that's 25 yards in 2 plays. And then Greg Bell ends up running for 15 yards for another touchdown, which kind of puts the icing on the cake.
Yep.
Then Jeremiah Mazzoli throws an interception to Dustin Talbert. We decide to run out the clock and punt it. Then Jeremiah Mazzoli decides to throw another interception, this time to Jamal Peters. We decide to punt the ball, and then that was the summary of winning 37-21.
37-21. Big win for the Ticats. Ticats getting a win in the division, which very much needed. I think winning against Toronto was the most important thing, but winning against Ottawa definitely helps too. Even with Ottawa being on the grasp of clutching themselves a playoff spot.
That's the thing that sucked about this, because they needed that win to clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah. That is true. Now, one thing I actually, from the other game, I forgot to mention. I want to mention it because it's worth mentioning. Funny situation again with Flintloft, his punt, once again, hitting the score clock.
Oh, yes.
In BC Place, and Ben Major coming out and being like, so, hit the score clock again.
It happened again.
It happened again. Gonna reset the which it's funny. It's one of, like BC Place. Can you raise the score clock a little? I don't know if they're able to raise it up any higher than what it's at. But
like, you would think, is there anyone besides the Lions that play there and the Whitecaps?
The Whitecaps MLS.
But I mean, why would you put the scoreboard in the middle of the friggin' stadium?
There really is no other place to put it. They pretty much need a hanging score clock. But the only thing is, my question is, can you have it hang higher?
Whoever designed that did a horrible job.
No. It's a cool venue. Realistically, the problem isn't the score. The problem isn't the venue. The problem is that the score clock is just too big. Like they should have gotten a bit of a smaller score clock, but they didn't. And so it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's really not that much of an issue.
So Drew Brown went 17 for 27, 164 yards, 1 interception. Jeremiah Mazzoli went 13 of 19 for 183.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
9.6.
Leyburn had 13 rushes for 84 yards, which would be their highest. And then you have a combination of Dominic Rhymes going 10 for 11 for 129 yards and a touchdown. And then also Justin Hardy, like you mentioned, 8 for 12 for 103 yards. And then Ackland only had 72 yards and Andre Miller had 34. And that was pretty much their whole receiving. But
Miller with the other touchdown pass, though.
Yes.
And so overall, one of those things where it's not like Ottawa, like, I will say, 3 interceptions, a bit rough. Besides the picks, just in terms of general performance, neither Mazzoli or Brown played really, really bad necessarily, just not really what you're looking for. You're looking for a little bit more than that, looking for a little bit less in the pick side of things, and just being able to drive that field a little more. Leyburn does okay in the rushing game. Rhymes and Hardy really, really leading the receiving core there. Receiving core was fine. It's just, if you're the Red Blacks defense, you got to put up a bit of a better fight against the Ticats here. and being able to really, really stop that ball and keep it from moving all the way down the field. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what way you slice it, the Ottawa Red Blacks defense gave up 37 points to the Hamilton Tiger-Cats this week, and that is how it is. There was not a single quarter where they kept the Ticats to under a touchdown in terms of points. As the lowest amount of points the Ticats got in a single quarter was in both the third and fourth quarter. They got 8 points. So at the end of the day, you gotta hold them to under that for at least one quarter. You got to give that offense a chance to produce and then be able to either catch up or grab themselves a lead. And I just don't think the Red Blacks defense gave themselves enough of an opportunity to do that.
Bo Levi Mitchell only missed 7 passes.
Yep.
Threw 299 yards. I thought good. He got a 300. He was 1 yard short of 300.
1 interception. Overall, good game for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Greg Bell is starting to show why he continues to be a powerhouse in this team, on this team. He had 99 yards on 15 carries to 1 touchdown.
Yep.
To go along with 2 receptions and 12 yards.
Yep.
Steven Dunbar, 151 yards. Like, is this the new normal? Like, people try to like outdo other people and just like,
hey,
what's the high this year? I think it's like 200. I think that was like what McInnes or something that had it earlier.
I thought it was like a Joe or something who got it.
Someone had like a 200 yards. So I guess
crazy.
The 150 is just normal.
I can't remember what Ontario Wilson got that one game. He got like 14 catches or whatever the hell it was. There was one game where Ontario Wilson was just showing up. I can't remember what game it was.
But yeah, it just seems like if one receiver on each team gets over 120 yards, I think that's like the new normal now.
Yeah. Oh, it was Ontario Wilson. It was in the game on Friday, July 12th. With a 41-37 victory, the Bombers over the Stampeders. Ontario Wilson gets 13 receptions, 1 touchdown, and 201 yards receiving. I think that was.
I knew it was something like that.
It was plenty. It was.
But since Greg Bell has came in as starter.
Yep.
Over James Butler, he's averaged 71 yards a game in 5 games.
Yep.
And he has 4 touchdowns already. So he's slowly making his way up that rushing board.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all I have for this game.
Which leaves us with our last game of the week, which was the Montreal Alouettes and the Calgary Stampeders. For the second time this season, we have a tie. It's crazy. We go 7 years with no ties. Then we get 2 in the same year, 2024. Alouettes and Stampeders, 19-19 tie.
Keep in mind, though, when I was watching this game, Paredes had 2 chances to put the game away.
Yep.
And he could not do that. Mind you, Jake Mayer has only thrown 37 passes this game.
Only 37.
I mean, it could be worse. But he could have had
it could be so much worse. I know it could be worse. I love the only 37. Like 37 is a small amount. It's not. It's just a decent amount. But we're used to him throwing like 49 or whatever the hell it is that he normally throws. So, but yeah, Jake Mayer 29 for 37, decent completion percentage here, and then 236 yards passing, 6.4 yards on average, 1 touchdown, no picks for him. Good in that regard. Dedrick Mills, 21 rushes, 122 yards rushing. Definitely some very, very good numbers there for Mills, being able to run that ball. Mitchell and Begelton leading the charge, with Mitchell having the 1 touchdown here for the Stampeders. Rene Paredes, 4 for 6. Again, like you said, Rene Paredes with 2 opportunities to close this game, not being able to connect on either. Cody Fajardo, 19 for 26, 204 yards, 7.8 yards on average, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Cody Fajardo with only 20 yards rushing. He leads the team. No absolutely invisible rushing game here from the Montreal Alouettes, not able to generate any offense in that regard. And
did you say Cody Fajardo was leading?
What? Yeah. Is it missing a stat here?
Oh, it's missing a huge stat.
Okay. So
Walter Fletcher had 7 carries for 90 yards.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I was about to say that would have been a big issue. Because I was looking at that and I was wondering. I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
No.
Okay. Because I actually saw little bits of this. I didn't get to see the entirety of this game, but I did see little bits. So I'm kind of like, I'm looking through the stats and I'm reading them off, and I'm like, this doesn't seem right.
It's funny because I was watching this game because the Game Zone Fantasy League that I'm in, I had Reggie Bagleton and Walter Fletcher, and the guy that I was playing with had Walter Fletcher, Reggie Bagleton, and Cole Speaker. So I'm thinking, okay, I was up by 0.5 points throughout the whole game. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Then Cole Speaker, or no, sorry, I was up by like 3 points, and then Cole Speaker gets 1 reception for 14 yards, and I look at him like, okay, if we go to overtime, I'm gonna be very mad because I'm worried that they're gonna throw to Cole Speaker. We had not 1, but 2 overtime periods.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, Cole Speaker only got 1 pass, so
Can I
I'm
file a
15
complaint
and
right
0.
now? Google, can you please update to the current Alouettes logo? They haven't used this logo in like years. Seriously. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, I'm right now trying to find the stat sheet for this game as opposed to just the one on my app.
CFL.ca, my friend.
Because it's sometimes wrong. I know. But I thought it was funny because I searched up the game, and the first thing I find is the Alouettes logo that they haven't used in like years.
The interesting thing is, this is the first game that Julian Grant returns.
Yeah.
He went 8 for 11 for 71 yards, and also Tyler Snead is back.
Yep.
And he went 4 for 4 for 38. So now,
however,
now it's
the Alouettes are dealing with 2 big things with Austin Mack and Tyson Philpott both being on that 6-game injured list.
No, but I mean, it's not even that. Like before, it used to be Cole Speaker and Rambo, a little bit of White. Now you got to worry about Grant and Snead now.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of that Swiss Army knife that we've been talking about when it comes to the receiving core for the Montreal Alouettes. Is it's like, who's going to have the standout game this week? Because it's not always the same guy. And nope. So this week was a very good week for Julian Grant, and he was able to get that going and be a bit of a force. On the defensive side, Darnell Sankey was able to be a real defensive force with that linebacker core with 10 tackles. And overall, the Alouettes, despite some decent efforts, weren't able to get it done. Demario Houston was on the other side of things with 6 defensive tackles for him. I think there was a sack for Sambu, and then looking at I'm not going through the full defensive stats here, but I'm looking at some other stuff. I see a sack for Wesley Sutton on the Alouettes side of things. Yeah.
Should we address the big elephant in the room?
Shoot.
Dedrick Mills, 21 carries, 122 yards.
Yep.
Calgary has a rushing game, folks.
I know. We've been looking for it for years. It's funny. You know what it is? It's like Dickinson went to a gold mine and then started mining and then came up from the mine to show everyone that he found gold and that this is like a new discovery. And it's like the talent has been there. You just haven't been using it. You've been making Jake Mayer throw the ball 40 times a game. It's not like you didn't have rushers. You did. It was just you never utilized them. So they finally utilized them, and look where it goes.
Not only that, but also don't forget Matt Schultz is also back from injury. So Jake Mayer's on a short leash.
So they don't have to worry about Bonner going in because Bonner was.
So
you know what? I can respect Calgary for giving him a shot.
It would not surprise me if Matt Schultz was the starter by the end of the season.
Yeah,
it honestly would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. And overall, that was a fun time. It's funny. I'm looking through. I was thinking back to last week where I think I was shitting all over Chad Kelly last week, right? In last week's review, I was
I
ripping,
think so.
I was ripping Chad Kelly one, and so one of our viewers had a thorough enjoyment of a comment that I made, in which he quoted me here saying, "What in the Jake Mayer kind of fuck is that?" Quote of the year from Carter. So Raging Slow Bro 97, thank you. Really appreciate your comment. Made my day.
It's funny because...
and however, it's one of those things where it's like, can we say that anymore now that Jake Mayer is not throwing the ball 40 times a game? So who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll be what in the Dedrick Mills kind of fuck is all of that about. Maybe that's what it'll be. Who knows? But if you're the Calgary Stampeders, you got to keep that rushing game going. You got something there. Is there anything else we got here, Rick?
So, I also got a text message from a viewer.
Yes?
Good on you for telling how it is when it comes to Kelly. It's easy for everyone to blame everything on him, but just for a political reason. But you say how it is. So that was after our review of the Ticats Toronto Labor Day.
Yep. Oh, the Labor Day review, like that hour and a half long video.
Yeah. Yes, and you already know who that's from.
Yeah, I do.
So I won't have to mention names.
All in all, though, had a solid week of CFL football. A lot of upsets, and
I'm curious
when. It's funny, we'll be recording this tonight, but tomorrow we will have our preview come out, where you can see our thoughts on the coming games for this week. And so
you mean tomorrow's going to be the review, and then the day after is going to be the preview?
Well, I mean tomorrow from when this video is going posted. So from when someone's watching, it's tomorrow for them.
Oh, gotcha.
That's when the preview will be going up. And also, I am 99% sure we will be streaming the Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus the Edmonton Elks game. So make sure
on the Sunday.
Make sure you got. I think it's the Saturday. I think it's the Saturday.
Oh, yes, the Saturday. Yes, 7 p.m.
Yep, 7 p.m. Saturday game. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central over here in Winnipeg. So make sure you guys join up for that.
Yes.
And
that reminds me, I have to get used to my time zones because in 3 weeks I will be heading out west.
That's right.
As I will be coming to watch the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on Toronto, and we're going to. We are having a CF Central episode on the road.
Canadian Football Central. That's right. We're gonna be, and then we're gonna be at the stadium. I'm probably actually gonna bring some of my mic equipment there. I'm thinking we're gonna try to film maybe some shorts or some reels, just some fun little maybe trivia out at the Riders tailgate or something about that. So if you guys are in Saskatchewan and we'll be going to the Riders Lions game in mid-October, we'll be there whether we're filming that or not. I think we probably will. I think we'll have a fun time with that. So we hope to see all you wonderful people there. So make sure you are. If you guys are in Winnipeg and we'll be at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus Toronto Argonauts, this is the last home game of the Bombers regular season.
Really?
Yep. It will be.
You guys have 4 straight home game or road games?
I believe. Well, there's 4 weeks left. That doesn't mean we play all 4 weeks because we. Play
you guys have
5 games, and then we don't play
5 games left.
October 11th, we play against the Argos, and then we play on the 26th, but it's on a road game.
Because you guys have
that will be our last
road this week. Home on the 27th, that's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're in Hamilton on the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so that's right. Because the following week is
the last Bomber home game of the season. So if you guys are in Winnipeg and going to that game, make sure to let us know on whatever social media. All links to all that in.
It's going to suck because my last home game is October 4th against the Bombers because I won't be able to attend the Calgary-Hamilton game on the 18th because I'll be working that day, but I digress.
Well, I hope you wonderful people all enjoy watching this video. Make sure you guys check out for tomorrow's video that will be coming out, preview. of the following week of
Oh,
CFL action. I believe
and
that is
also,
week 16. Yes, Rick.
I do have a few tidbits at the beginning of that video that I'm going to be mentioning, as it has some takes on this upcoming week's schedule.
Yeah, so we got a lot.
And one last thing that I'm going to mention,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the whole spur, but fans, please go watch my preview for this past week. We had a tragic incident in Hamilton affecting one of our junior Ticat cheerleaders, so they're doing a fundraising. I won't sit here and talk for 3 minutes about it, but if you go and watch the beginning of my Ticat preview, I sit there for 3 to 4
Link
minutes
to
discussing.
Ticats Talk Network in the description below, so you guys can check that out there. And
but that's it for me.
All right. Well, peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home. And we'll see you guys next time.